I need a raise. I deserve a raise, but I have to admit I'm afraid to ask for one, not only because of what the boss might say, but because of what the people in the office will say too. They might think I'm kissing up or trying to be better than them, you know?
Fear of what other people may think or say about you often blocks opportunities. The action cure is to first make sure that what you plan to do is right and justified, and if you feel sure it is, then go ahead with it. Don't get hung up on what other people might think. No one ever does anything worthwhile for which he or she is not criticized somewhere along the road.
These are just a few examples, but the procedure to cure fear and win confidence can be summed up in 2 stages. First, isolate your fear. Pin it down. Determine exactly what you're afraid of. Second, take action. There is some kind of action that will cure any and every kind of fear. Now remember this, action is more than just a cure for fear. Action is a tool for success. Action is a confidence builder and a self-belief builder. Action, making things happen, is what separates a dreamer from a doer. Now, it's good to dream. Many good and useful ideas come from dreaming, but ideas without action are like a car without an engine. In other words, they're useless. Our minds generate lots of ideas every day, ideas about different things. It will help your success plan if you get in the habit of capturing those ideas when they happen. Carry around a notebook or some small cards so you can make a note of your ideas and keep those ideas in an active, accessible file. That can be anything from a fancy cabinet to a shoebox, but make sure they're in a place where you can easily get to them and look at them frequently. Review your ideas and cull out the ones that don't have any value, but the ones that look feasible, hang on to them, research them, read everything you can that pertains to your idea, talk it over with your friends, your family, fellow workers, polish your ideas, think and dream about them, and then act on them. Remember, excellent ideas alone are not enough. A fair idea developed and acted upon is 100% better than a great idea that dies because it isn't followed up.
Remember the first experiment in your people laboratory? We suggested that you pick 2 successful people and 2 unsuccessful people and see how the attributes that David Schwartz describes fit those individuals. Well, think about that experiment again and see how this model applies. People tend to fall into 2 general categories. Successful people are active. They take action, get things done, follow through on ideas and plans. Unsuccessful people tend to be more passive. They are don'ters. They postpone doing things until they can prove to themselves that they shouldn't do them or can't do them anyway. For purposes of this example, we'll call the active person Mr. A and the passive person Mr. P. Now let's examine some typical Mr. A and Mr. P behaviors. In countless ways, large and small, the differences between Mr. A and Mr. P show through. An employee at work does a particularly good job on a tough assignment, and Mr. A decides to write him a note to congratulate him on his achievement. As soon as he makes that decision, Mr. A sits down, writes the note, and has it delivered. Mr. P decides to write a note too, but he has some other things to do right now, so he doesn't get to it right away. And then he forgets for a day or two, and the note, in fact, never gets written. Mr. A, at the age of 45, decides he wants to go into a new line of work. He researches the field he's interested in, decides on a course of action by formulating a plan for success, and he follows through, step by step. In 2 years, he's on a new career course, and he's glad he made the change. Mr. P, at the same age, also gets the idea that he'd like to try something new, but he sits down and thinks it over, and decides that it's better not to rock the boat at his age, because if he failed, he'd be too old to make a comeback. Mr. A gets the things done that he wants to do, and as a byproduct, he gains confidence. He gets a feeling of inner security, self-reliance, and he also earns more income. Mr. P is afraid to act. He doesn't do the things that he wants to do. He limits his possibilities by convincing himself of the folly of action. As byproducts, he loses confidence in himself, becomes negative about life, and he lives in mediocrity.
There is a saying that says, experience is priceless. It's a shame you have to pay for it with your youth. To become experienced, it's going to cost you your entire youth. The only way to get experience, you got to get old. I know you don't want to, but old is the goal. I tell people all the time, kids come up and they go, man, Mr. Harvey, you old. Old is the goal. See, if you stop getting old, The day you stop getting old, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. It's over. It's over for you. See, I like getting old, because that means I'm still here. So, it's so many things to that question. But there is a balance. You have to have a good time. You have to do your work. You know, and then parents, let me tell you this. It's not just schoolwork. Kids can't just do schoolwork. You got to give them some time to enjoy themselves. You know, you got to give them time to be a kid. You know, you got to let them go do something. I know. Be focused, be focused, be focused, be focused, be focused. Focus, 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 focus. Hey, man, they young. They young. They just want to go outside. They want to do something fun. Now, fun over here is way different from fun in the United States. So I don't know what that is, but they just want to have fun. You got to create a balance. So like with all my kids, my youngest child now is 22 years old. So I don't have to watch them. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I still watch them. Yes, but they're not. They can all drive. They all got cars. They all have their own apartment. They're independent. They all have jobs. I'm very fortunate. All of my children have to be, I put 7 kids through college. You know why? Because I flunked out of school. I flunked out of school. I failed in school. I was expelled from school and couldn't go back. I was not a good student. And so I didn't want my children to have to suffer the way I suffered with no education. See, and then sometimes my kids would go, well, Dad, look how your life turned out. You didn't have an education, and look at your life. Yeah, but you ain't got no jokes. See, my life turned out okay because God had given me this incredible gift. I have the ability to make people I've never met laugh. So I have a gift. You don't have this gift. You need education. You got to get educated. So all of my children have gone to college. And that's been a very proud thing for me. But I had to learn to let them have fun too. So, we go on family vacations and things like that. And we try to sit around and have family time. We try to eat some meals together. Like I'll have 1, 2 of them here with me. My son's with me all the time. I don't know where my daughter is. She's with their mama. I don't know. My son, he's gonna come with his father because he loves me. Roderick Stephen Harvey Jr. I named him after me. That was my firstborn son. I have 3 sons. And he's a very good son. A lot of beautiful women over here, but he knows we don't do nothing over here. We're going home. The Muslim men over here, they're not playing. They're not playing. There's no game with them. These Muslim men over here, they love their daughters. Don't play. So we going home. We'll go somewhere else. We're not here. Look, this is a real simple answer. To create the balance, you just got to take some time out to do some stuff you enjoy doing. Now look. My enjoyment is probably very different from yours. So don't do what Steve do. My enjoyment is very different. But you have to find the things that you like. You got beautiful beaches here. Go to the beach. Do something other than work. Because, man, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. You cannot work all the time. You have to do something for enjoyment. You got to, man. Why are you making money? Go buy yourself your favorite food and go eat it on the beach. Go get yourself, just sit down somewhere. You can't, I have to remember where I am, so just buy yourself something to eat and sit on the beach. Just do that. Don't be trying to find a cigar and all that ain't gonna happen. Not here. I know I tried. But that's another thing, because I'm a cigar guy. When I come here, that's not the case, but I'm fine, so I learned how to deal with it. We have laws. We have to be respectful of people's culture and country, so it's fine.
everything you can think of to dazzle your grandchildren and have them think you're the greatest and the best ever. But it's pure joy, and you have to pay attention. It's some work involved, of course, in making a good relationship like that work, but the payoff is incredible for the small price to pay. One of my dear friends asked me, said, I've got teenagers now. What else can I do to influence their life? And I said, maybe not that much. But here's two good words to consider. Now that they're teenagers, the key is to be available and capable. Capable of good answers when they need them, capable of counsel when they need it, available when they need to make a call, but trying to daily influence somebody's life, after they've become, especially teenagers, right? It's a tough job to do. But if you settled for that, being available and capable. I want to be well-read, and have good command of language, and be able to translate my own feelings and experiences into useful conversation so that when the need arises, I'll have something valuable and wise to say, however short or long it may be. It's like fishing, you can't jerk too hard or you lose them. And you can't leave too much slack, let them off the line, they're gone. So it's called pull, 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 easy, easy, pull, pull, easy, easy. To learn how to fish, to catch fish. It's kind of the same with communication, strong enough but not too strong. It can't be weak or the point doesn't get across. It has to be strong. Strong without being rude, I say, in one sense. That's more a presence. But in communication as well, well-chosen words mixed with measured emotion, not too much, not too little. When the actor gives a performance, if the script is well written, that's part of the structure. The rest is delivery, part of it is style, but part of it is enough emotion for the point, not too much. And I think parents have to do the same. Sometimes kids have a valid objection to saying it's not that big a deal. And in the parents' mind, they've made it into this monster deal when it really isn't. But if you always make everything into a big monster deal when it isn't, kids get a bit misled by that. And the key is to save up that emotional content of making something a big deal, if it's a big deal, and be a little more rational and emotionally contained when it isn't such a big deal, more thoughtful than volume, more caring than loud. I don't know. It's an art. It's a bit tricky dealing with kids, right? You got to tell them what you love and what you hate. I love you, but I hate what's happening. They need to know both. How do you put both strong feelings in the same sentence, love and hate? But we've got to do it, because we have to deal with both. What's right, what's wrong, what's better, what's okay, what would be better. We all struggle with the language. Words are clumsy sometimes when you try to express what's going on in your head, let alone your heart. It's not an easy challenge. If the parents are okay, the kids are okay. Chances are high, odds are high. If the parents are okay, the kids are okay. Your own self-development is the best contribution you can give to your children. Not self-sacrifice, self-development and contribution. Self-sacrifice usually earns contempt. Self-development and self-investment earns respect. I used to use the old phrase, I'll take care of you, you take care of me. I found out how short-ended that was. I changed it, and Bob Cummings, the old movie star, helped me to change it. Here it is. I'll take care of me for you, if you'll take care of you for me. The best contribution I can make to you, if you're my friend, is my personal development. What if I become 10 times wiser, 10 times stronger, 10 times better, 10 times more unique? Think of what that will do for our friendship. If the parents multiply their own personal value by 2, by 3, by 5, by 10, what would that do for their children? Wow. If the parents are happy, I'm telling you, the kids will be happy. If the parents engage in unique lifestyle, don't miss anything. Drink deep of the cup of whatever's available. I'm telling you, if the parents are okay, the kids are probably going to be okay. Wow. If you're on an airplane, the stewardess says, if we run out of oxygen, these masks are going to drop down. And then she says, make sure you take care of your children first. No. Would you underline no? Would you underline no? No. Have you got that? You should take care of your children first. No. That's key. It says, put your mask on first. You take care of yourself first. Then you assist your children.
See them people up here, they tired of buying you laptops and iPhones and sneakers and all that. They hoping with everything in them that this degree flips the script, that you one day buy them a TV and another house. Look, I got 7 kids.
All 7 of my kids either done graduated or they in college now. You know why I send them to school? So they pay me back. That's the only reason. I just want my money back. If they could just give me a ROI, or return on investment, give me the money I dumped into y'all. Just give it back to me. You know how much paper I don't spend on these kids of mine? But you gotta learn how to fail and win anyway. You got to overcome. So now here's the lesson. Behind every moment of adversity, every single moment of adversity in your life, 2 things are going to happen. There's going to be a lesson and there's going to be a blessing. You got to wait on both of them. If you let the adversity crumble, if you focus on the adversity, you will lay there and wallow in the fact that you have failed. Because failure coming. But life is 10% what happened to you. It's 90% what you do about it. Man, so what you fail? It's not really failure though. Every time you fail, it's a valuable, taught, learned experience that makes you greater for later on. They didn't tell you this at ASU. Once again, I can only use December 21st, I hosted Miss Universe. What you laughing at? It wasn't funny then. Everybody, boy, you crazy, well, you ain't nothing. Do you know, in that moment of failure, you know what really happened to you? The biggest mistake on television. Do you know one of my prayers, because every morning I have a gratitude prayer. I have a list of 89 things that I read before I start my day. I don't wake up without reading it. I don't go to bed. It's on my iPhone. It's under my notes section. I have a gratitude prayer because one of the principles of success is the more you're grateful for, the more he gives you to be grateful for. Look, I don't know but 4, 5 scriptures. I done one of them already, so I ain't got but 3 more. But them 4, 5 ones that I know, they 4, 5 good ones though. They got me here today. So now in gratitude, when you show God gratitude, he give you more stuff to be grateful for. So I wake up in the morning, I thank you for listening. In my gratitude prayer, I put in several requests. One of my requests, because I have businesses overseas, one of my requests was, I was asking God to increase my global persona and reputation. Now, I didn't appreciate the way he did it. I did not care for the route he took. I was really looking upside God's head. Hey man, because the day after, my name on social media was Googled 2 billion times in 48 hours. I was on the front page of 64 countries' newspapers. He had increased my global persona and reputation. But it happened in a moment of adversity. And see, this is how God works, man. This is why you got to grab this from me now. It happened in a moment of adversity. I shamed myself. Man, it was humiliating. I had death threat. We got security. My wife will tell you, with her fine self sitting over there. What's up, girl? I see you. Love you back. Stay with me. Thank God for that over there every day. If he ain't done nothing for me, he gave me that day over there. You feel me? That was the adversity. We got security at our house now, don't we? I have guards that come to my house. That's in my yard behind my. We had serious death threats. Colombia was so upset. You know, them boys, they sell drugs. They got drug cartel over there. You got, you know, when they mad at you, you got to pay attention. You know, this ain't, can't just play them off. You know, there ain't no skinhead. I had death threats. I had so many memes done about me. Some of y'all did the memes yourself. I had friends on TV that I thought was my friend just doing memes about me. Man, it was a week of just agonizing humiliation. Every newspaper, every morning show wanted to interview me. I wouldn't do no interview. There was some adversity had hit my life. And as people was trying to make fun of it, my family was in pain. We were suffering. But what I tell you though, behind every moment of adversity, there's 2 things. There's a lesson and there's a blessing. Here was the lesson. They ain't gonna get me like that no more. What you put in that teleprompter has to match what you put on the card, and it's got to coordinate with the IBF that I had in my ear. Because everything on that monitor and everything in my ear and on that card, the next name, according to the teleprompter, was Miss Columbia. Miss Columbia! Oh, it was a great moment. I went all the way in the back. 2 minutes went by. Ain't nobody said nothing. Then they discovered it was a mistake. Then they said, we got to fix this. The guy in my ear said, we'll straighten it out in the morning news. I walked out there myself. I decided. I'm walking back out there. The man in my ear say, where you going? What are you going to do? You said we got fixed. So I went out there and took the whole bullet myself. They changed the card from all 3 days rehearsal. They never did a runner-up because it was a new company. They did it different. Hey, they messed up everything. I took the bullet and the blame because my mama, the Sunday school teacher, and my daddy, the coal miner, was alive and do the right thing. Be a man, own up.
Here is a thought. Why not call good books and cassettes tapping the treasure of ideas? That's it, tapping the treasure of ideas, like you're doing with this program. And if somebody's got a good excuse for not tapping the treasure of ideas for at least 30 minutes every day, or spending the money and getting the books and cassettes, I'd like to hear it. Some excuses you wouldn't believe. I say, John, I've got this gold mine. I've got so much gold, I don't know what to do with it all. Come on over and dig. John says, I don't have a shovel. I say, well, John, get you one. He says, do you know what they want for shovels? Hey, invest the money. Get the cassettes and books. The best money you can spend is money invested in your self-education. Don't shortchange yourself when it comes to investing in your own better future. Mr. Schoaf got me started on my library when I first met him. He said to me, become self-educated. Standard education will get you standard results. Check those numbers and see if that's what you want. And if it isn't, if you want something better than standard, you must become self-educated. So I went to work on my library, and I now have one of the best. Schoaf recommended a couple of books in particular to get me started. Now, I had a Bible, that's 66 books, so that was a pretty good start, and my parents saw to it that I had a good study of the Bible. But the first book Mr. Schoaf told me to get was the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. If you don't already have it, it's a great one to add to your library. Earl Nightingale has put it on cassette. The title should intrigue you, Think and Grow Rich. I read it several dozen times. Schoaf said repetition is the mother of skill, and if you could have seen my bank account at the time, you would have known I needed lots of that kind of repetition. Some of the ideas in that book made major changes in my life. As I look back now, the book was worth thousands, and I bought it for pennies. I learned a very valuable lesson. There can be a great deal of difference between cost and value. Before I met Mr. Schoaf, I used to ask, how much does it cost? After I met him, however, I soon learned to ask, how much is it worth? I started basing my life on worth instead of cost, and everything changed. So that was one book he recommended, Think and Grow Rich. The next book he recommended I get was a book on nutrition. Schoaf said, study nutrition. Vitality plays an important part in doing well. Some people don't do well because they don't feel well. It's not that they're not intelligent, it's that they're ill. They don't have the fire and the vitality to do well.
If you're a leader in this room, how many consider yourself a leader in what you do for a living? Let me see your hands. I figured almost everybody. So if you're a leader, that doesn't mean other people follow you, by the way. It just means you live life on your terms. You don't settle for less than you can do or be or share or give. So that's your mindset. Then you got to say, okay, if I'm really going to be a leader in my life, then I need to own my energy, my certainty. I can't just wait till I feel good to do things. I got to be able to get myself to feel good, and not phony and not fake. So I'd like to show you as a leader, your skill as a leader, your number one skill that makes you a leader is your ability to influence. Is it true? And who do you have to influence first? That's right. If you can't influence you, you're going to influence somebody else. But your ability to influence the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, the behaviors of other people. If you do that, then you will be able to engage the world and yourself. So how do we do that? Well, to influence other people, hear me now, to influence other people, you have to know what already influences them. If you try to get your kid to clean the room the way it would work for you, I promise you it probably doesn't work that way for them. Everyone's different, but there are some universals, and one thing that influences all of us is our state. If you're in a pissed off state, if you ever had a friend do something nice and you're in a pissed off state and you snap at them and you feel bad later on, it was just the state you're in, who knows what I'm talking about here? Say, So we need to train ourselves to be in a better state. And the second thing that affects what we do long term, besides our state, that's what affects things moment to moment, is we all have a set of beliefs or expectations, or we might call it a blueprint for how life's supposed to be. When life is in alignment with our blueprint, we're happy. We're not, we're upset.
So it got to the 10th guy, and they called his name, and nobody went up. And they called his name again. They said, well, looks like number 10 isn't here. We're going to go to next week's list. Steve Harvey, come on up. I looked at that girl, Gladys. I said, it's crazy. I said, there's somebody in here got the same name I got. She said, you really can't be this stupid. She said, boy, that's you. And the audience clapped again. It was all white audience. I run up on stage, I ain't got nothing. First thing I say to the audience is, hey, I appreciate y'all clapping, but I ain't supposed to be here. I'm on next week's show. They white, they laughed. So I said, no, really, I ain't got nothing for y'all. So the girl Gladys yelled out, tell them about when you was boxing. So on the way down, I had told her this story about boxing. So I did the boxing joke. These people was in the flow laughing. So then, I ain't had nothing else. So I had wrote some jokes for my buddy AJ Jamal that I hadn't sold to him yet. So I said, well, hell, let me try these. So I did them jokes. They died laughing. They brought me off stage. They brought all 10 of us up on stage. They had a clap off. That night, I won the clap off. I won amateur night, October 8th, 1985. They paid me $50. I get in the car. I'm 40 minutes from my house. Gladys is driving me home. I'm crying the entire time. I can't stop crying. She said, what you crying for? It's just $50. I said, no, you don't understand. This ain't $50. I've been born to it. This ain't $50. This God answering a prayer of mine that I've been praying for 20 years. This ain't $50. This is what I'm gonna do the rest of my life. I went to work the next day, October 8th, 1985, and quit my job. I have done nothing since October 8th, 1985, except one thing. I've been telling these here jokes. That's all I've ever done. That gift that God gave me. You know, the Bible says your gift will make room for you. It'll make room for you. See, if you're not doing your gift, you're wasting your time. Maybe when you wake up in the morning, see, but sales is a gift. That dude that keep winning team member of the year from the comfortable background.
I had the privilege several years ago, I was invited by these businessmen in South Africa to come over. Yeah. Everybody here from South Africa? I love it. Cape Town and Sydney are two of my favorite cities in all the world. But I was over there ministering for a bunch of Christian businessmen who had come into an abundance of wealth, and they wanted to submit all that they had into the hands of God, and they invited me over to talk to them both about business and about faith, and just a small group. Wasn't a big crowd of people, but it was an amazing time. And one of the benefits that they gave me for being over there is one of them had such influence. He said, when you get through working, we're going to take you on a safari. And being a hillbilly from the sticks of West Virginia, I thought that was pretty cool. And I got real excited. I had my son with me and I had my wife with me, and I'd never been on a safari before, so I went out and bought me some safari clothes. Because you got to coordinate everything. You got to be looking good when you're out there with the elephants and stuff, you know, because they might take pictures of you or something. So I looked like I knew what I was doing. I was excited, and they said, we're going to take you over in a little plane, and you're going to land on the runway and everything like that, and it's kind of out in a little remote area, but it's going to be cool. And we got on the little plane. I was cool, and my son was cool, and my wife was there. Yeah, she was there. And I was really cool with it because I pictured a runway with a tower and a control tower and everything. There was no control tower anywhere. There was a little runway, just a strip going through the jungle, no lights or nothing on it. And we had to wait before we land because there was a rhinoceros out in the middle of the runway. And all of a sudden, I knew this wasn't going to exactly be like what I had in mind when I started, but I was still cool because the little boy in me is kind of crazy and rough, and I thought, oh, this is going to be good. And my son was down with it. He's ready to go do it. And my wife was just there. They took us out to this, it was like a monstrosity of a mansion out in the middle of the jungle, and it was really cool. It was J. Paul Getty's house, and it was really someplace that I couldn't have gone had they not just allowed me to go, and it was wonderful. It was real plush. It was real nice. I was having a good time, so they said, don't go out the house at night, you know, because the animals are free. Now, you have to understand, in the States we have animals, but they're in cages and stuff like that. And we're free, and the animals are in cages. And so this was an international concept that I was not exactly familiar with. I decided I was going to go anyway. So my son and I, we put on our outfits, and we got up early that morning, and we said, we're going out on the safari. And they brought this big old Jeep up, and we got on the Jeep, and I said, are you ready, Dad? He said, yeah, Dad, I'm ready. We jumped on the Jeep. My wife wasn't there. She felt led of the Lord to stay at home and pray for us. So we got on the Jeep and we're riding out there, you know, and it was interesting because the guy who was giving us the tour and going to show us all of these unique animals, I mean lions and elephants and all of this fantastic stuff, he was a zoologist, and it was amazing. It was amazing because he knew all of this stuff about the animals, how the animals' teeth were cut a certain way so that when they bit into certain branches, the branches were cut in such a way that they would be pruned and still be fruitful. It was amazing how smart our God is.